Welcome to the Make an Impact podcast, real stories, real people, and real impact. My name's Stephen Turnbull. I'm an entrepreneur, husband, and father that's on a mission to empower individuals to share their stories so they can make an impact on you. Today we have my friend, Mr. Nick Angelicola. He is the dealer principal at ROI Office Interiors, his family business. We talk about the business. We talk about some of his college time and the transition into being a business owner. And we also talked about a time where he made an incredible impact on my life. And I shared with him that it's one of those situations I'll never forget. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy it. On to Nick Angelicola. Mr. Angelicola, how are you today, sir?
Good. How you doing?
This is the Blazer podcast. We're going to how to wear some slick blazers. I said this is a nice one, but not that good. That lavender one looks nice.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So, Make an Impact podcast. We appreciate you being here. Episode number 2, Mr. Nick Angelicola. We've already went over the introduction. I want to just talk about your story, where you are in your business with ROI. But before we get there, tell us about just personal Nick Angelicola. What's your life like? Tell us how you got where you were, where you went to school, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. I think it's cool what you guys are doing here. So thank you. Yeah, I grew up in Rome. I was born and raised in Rome, New York. I graduated from RFA. I went on to college at Niagara University. And the day after I graduated from Niagara, I started working at the family business. Mm-hmm. So I'm like one of the only people, probably the only person that knew they were going to be in office furniture when they were 5 years old.
And now the family business is how many generations at this point?
I'm the second generation.
You're the second. So Dad started.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And it's ROI Office Interiors is the exact name, and that stands for?
It was Roberts Office Interiors.
Yes.
We expanded into Syracuse, and oddly enough, there's a Roberts Syracuse, so we had a name change as we continued to grow.
Yeah. Tell me about that, walking through college. So, like, you're going through college, everybody, all your friends, because I had the same situation. I worked for a family agency right out of college, same thing. Graduated on Friday, went to work with Dad on Monday. And like, that was the plan. And it was like, I remember getting some flack from like some of my friends of like, oh, you already got your stuff lined up and I'm applying to all these jobs and this and that. Like, tell us about that experience of just kind of having your future set and knowing when you're going to school. I think and again, I'm on your side. I haven't been on the side of I'm going for school for finance. I don't know what direction that's going to take me. But what was it like for you going through that and like knowing what the future was going to be?
Yeah, I think it's cool because, well, first of all, like, I didn't love high school. And then when I got to college, I started to be able to like take stuff that actually interested me, right? Mm-hmm. And with that, I could kind of tailor my courses to things that I was interested in. And, you know, it doesn't sound great, but like I'd have to focus so much on like, how's this going to look on my resume? I could focus on what was actually like going to be beneficial and what, you know, I enjoyed doing. So that was really cool. And the other cool thing was I had the opportunity to kind of work there throughout my childhood growing up. So when I was really young, I helped install all the summers. I just wanted extra money. I'd go help the install team put in furniture. I did that for a while. Then when I went into college in the summers, I would do some other stuff. So I did a little bit of like sales and marketing and operations and those things. So by the time I graduated college, you know, that next day, I kind of knew, I had an idea of how the business operated. But yeah, overall, I think it was just really cool, like kind of having that figured out. I know that a lot of people, that weighs on you when you don't know what direction you want to go in. Yeah. So I think it made it a little bit easier on me.
Yeah. Let's go back in time to the transition from college to like full-time worker now in the family business. Because I'm starting, just as we're talking, remembering things of like, oh, this little like marketing idea, like I remember learning about that and now we can apply it and like, hey, maybe we should do this differently and this differently. And especially with the generational business, like that can be touchy, it can be tough. Like, here comes the young kid going to bring in all these ideas or whatever. Like, talk to us about that transition. Then we'll lead up to where you are today and learn more about the business.
Yeah. So, you know, like you mentioned, I think that when I came on board, there's people, you know, the business had been around already for 20 years, right? And there was a lot of people who had been there for 20 years, right? So when I came in, I was super conscious of that. It was something I was very concerned of. I didn't want to be the person who everything was just like handed to.
So son of the boss coming out in.
So I really tried to earn it.
Yeah.
But there was definitely challenges. I remember we were switching from, everything was paper, and we switched to like our install team being on iPads and those things. And it was, for certain people, it was a big challenge.
Yeah.
But I think that after you get it implemented, people see like, okay, this is a lot better. So overall, I think it's just being mindful of, you might have these new ideas and this new perspective, but these people have a ton of experience and knowledge, and trying to balance those two.
Right. Yeah, it's a balance. And we could go down a whole road and have an hour and a half podcast at least on that. But I mean, I just specifically remember like a couple of exact examples of where I was like, first, second week inside of the agency, and I'm like, oh, this is how that correlates. And then Mike Taft is here engineering, and you want to talk about like high school. Mike and I went to kindergarten together. I hated high school, right? Mike hated high school, but like same thing. Nothing was interesting. I don't want to sit there and learn about algebra. I don't care. Two, I'm not going to use it. I knew I was going to be the insurance guy, whatever, and like wanted to learn about all these cool things. Then you got to college, like you said, and we're able to pick all those things. It's a lot more exciting. And then the next stage of, now you can actually apply these things, right? Okay, so tell us about the business itself. For those who are listening, ROI, maybe they've never, if you haven't heard about them, you're under a rock somewhere. But here's how you've heard about them: those sick wrap trucks that you got around town. And I know that was a Nick Angelicola.
I'm very proud of that.
Those bunch trucks. Come on, you find me another office.
That's another crazy young person idea. I said it's super expensive to get trucks wrapped, and I was like, why don't we just try to find like a graffiti person to really just put our logo on it, put everything on it. And that didn't quite pan out, but we got them wrapped with kind of a graffiti type look, and you could spot them.
You can spot them for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's different.
Yeah. I think that too, our industry is, it's an older industry, and a lot of the people that are owners of office furniture dealerships, are getting up there in age, and they've done things a certain way. And that's something I've been really trying to focus on, is how do we bring this industry into the next level?
Yeah.
Right. So trying to just change the face of it a little bit.
Yeah. So tell us about the business. Who do you guys serve? What should people know about what you do? How can people that are listening maybe help, whatever it might be?
Yeah. So we sell basically all commercial furniture. We do offices for government, private sector. We do hospitals, healthcare, colleges. We kind of cover a wide array, and we do everything from offices to lounges to those glass demountable walls that we're seeing everywhere. Those have become really popular. I think if you boil it down, what we really try to do is try to make professional spaces as comfortable as possible. Whether it's where you're working, we're doing a ton with sound right now. So one of the new trends that everyone wants is to bring the office panels down a little bit, share light, and kind of have more of an open space. That creates other challenges with sound, with privacy. So we're really trying to be the experts on, here's that balance.
Yeah.
You get this open modern space, but you can have the sound privacy and visual privacy that you need to function.
Yeah. So tell us about, I'm thinking as we're talking through this, like the trends of what you guys have offered from 20, 30 years ago, where it's like, oh, these are the different colored cubicles, to now like this cool lounge where you can have a couch that reclines with your laptop on your lap. Like, I feel like those larger clients that you're serving, that's the way that they're going. We had the COVID times where it was work from home, and I want you to jump in on this because you work with all these larger corporations. But you had those COVID times where it was like work from home, and now I feel like there's somewhere like, well, we missed that office, let's do this hybrid, this and that. But there's such a different workspace, whether it's like a small agency like mine or a team of 50 people, where you maybe have just a shared office space, like the space that we're in, that Bill and Matt have built, right? They have some shared offices, shared desk. There's not just, that's Mike's cubicle, that's Nick's cubicle, that's Steven's, come hang your pictures of your puppies and have a good day. Like, it's more comfortable, more about the experience for the employees. And like, so tell us some of those things that you've seen over the last couple of years in your business. Yeah.
So a couple of things that you touched on that are kind of right on. COVID changed a lot, right? People got used to work from home, and they did want to come back in, but then when they came back into the office, they were like, I didn't have any distractions. I didn't have any noise, right? It's a change for me. And the other thing is, our area is a little bit delayed in getting things compared to big cities and large companies, and it's starting to come to our area. So, you know, where you see like Google, where you're like, they got bean bags and like everyone's just hanging out there. That's what's happening in upstate New York, where now these employers really want people to want to come to work. They want them to be happy at work. And at the end of the day, everyone's just fighting for like the best talent, right? So what can we provide our people to make them want to come here and want to stay at our company, right? So we're seeing a lot of those amenities and comfortable work spaces come into play. And then, you know, like you mentioned with this space here, now it's a little bit more flexible. You might work from home 2 days a week and come in for 3. And instead of having this footprint of 100 stations, now you might be able to get away with 30 and just have them as these touchdown stations where you don't really have a station, but when you come in, you find an open desk and you could set up and work there for the day. Right. That's becoming kind of a lot of where businesses are heading.
So let me flip the script on you. So as a leader in your organization, soon to be the leader in your organization, like what are some things that you're paying attention of and being conscious of in that realm of your team, keeping your team bought in, keeping everybody on the same page?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to talk
besides the cool looking.
I was going to say, I don't want to talk so much about our workspace, right? Because we're furniture people, but that's what we just redid our showroom. And that's what we did is people wanted a little bit more privacy, but we got the glass wall so they get all the light. There's some common hangout areas. And then outside of that, on more of a management side, I think what we really try to do is we try to treat our employees like owners and like adults. It's bad to say that, but like if you want to bring your kid to soccer or whatever it is in the middle of the day, and you're doing a good job, we just trust that you're going to get your work done. You know, it's the benefit that owners have always had, right? If you have to work at 10 at night, you work at 10 at night. But also, if you have an important family event, you can go to that. So I think by far, that's the biggest thing that we try to do. When you're a smaller business, you have to find ways to really make people love to work at your organization, right? Because you don't have the money that Google has or those things. So that's what we really focus on. We have great people, and I think everyone who works at ROI really enjoys it.
In our industry, in the insurance independent industry, there's been a huge influx of established agencies, I would say 10 plus people on their team, right? Established larger mid-size agencies that are offering unlimited time off. And it's such an interesting topic to me. I mean, we're a team of 3, so if we can't offer it right now because the phones would just be ringing, but there's so many studies around it that people actually take less time off when you have that versus like, oh, you have 3 weeks off and, oh, well, I got to use these last 3 weeks because they're going to expire if I don't. But to your point, if they know like, well, Johnny's got a soccer game and I want to be at Johnny's soccer game, at 4:00 and my shift ends at 5, but if I can go to that, my work's done and I'm going to get it done. Maybe I'm going to skip my lunch, all of that. That's what people are looking for. Like the old days, like the bell ringing at 4:59 and grabbing your briefcase and walking out are gone. At least if you're looking to retain good people. And I mean, young entrepreneur here, maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm just seeing from what I see in the conversation that I have, like people are looking for that. I hate this term and I'm going to use it, the work-life balance, right? Because it's like those things, like you said, are as owners, we can do that. If something happens in the middle of the day and I have to run home, if something happens with your kids or whatever, you can do that. But like, so why can't the team do that too? If something's that important to them, if it's important to you, why can't it be important to them?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that it is just like everyone having that bought in mission where it's like, hey, we have this big project coming up and I had to leave early today because it's something I really wanted to do with my family. You might come in early the next day. You might have to work like an hour at night or something, but you get that freedom. And we don't have that unlimited time, but we still have vacation days and stuff like that. But as far as like if you're leaving for half day, no one's like marking it down and saying like, all right, you were gone for 45 minutes. Yeah. So we're super lenient like that. And I think, maybe 5-6 years ago we started doing this, and since then we've seen like dramatic change, and everyone's just performance but happiness as a company.
Let me take you back to the college days. I want to hear all the dirty college stories. No. Like I think a lot about like senior year of college, like sitting in the classrooms and like, I feel like there's almost a common theme of like professors like, are you ready to get into the big bad world of working and get, you know, this and that? And it's like this whole blown up thing. And then you go out there, and I tell people all the time that I've looked back at it because I've almost 10 years, whatever it's been. And it's like, if you just do your job and do the right thing, everything else goes into place, right? But I'm just curious as all the things we talked about of like knowing your path, going into the business, working your way up from delivery to now taking over soon here. Like when you look back at like, what were your thoughts of when you were getting ready to graduate and going into the workforce compared to the reality?
Yeah. It's funny because this is kind of off topic, but when I first started working, it was like, I remember sitting at my desk going like, how do people find something to do for 8 hours? I got like 5 hours in. I was like, what do I do? And then like 6 months later, it was like, that changed real quick.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, I don't know. I think that it's just trying to be creative and trying to, we talked a lot about education, and I'm a big fan of not formal education. Yeah. You know, I do a lot of driving. We're in Albany, we're in Syracuse, we're in Ithaca, and I'm listening to audiobooks and podcasts, and it's just stuff that engages me, and it makes it a lot easier to like apply. Mm-hmm. So I think doing stuff like that. But as far as, you know, what I saw differently in college, after college, I don't know. I really think you just get into it, you know, and you kind of figure it out as you go. And I think that's what everyone's doing. And you just try to have a unique insight on things.
Right. I'm going to go off topic too, because you just reminded me of something. The first day that I worked at the agency for my dad, I remember like a family member like came and brought coffee. And then next thing you know, like dad brought me out to this fancy lunch for like my first day at work. And then next thing you know, it was like 3:00 and like someone else came and visited the office. And then I went home. I'm like, this is kind of nice. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got this nice lunch, this and that. Like to your point, like 2 months later, I'm like, oh, all right.
They're just
a little orientation kicking. Yeah, that's good. All right, let's learn a little bit more about Nick Angelicola. Tell us more. Tell us just like the day-to-day of what you do as the leader of your company. I know the cool part is like, I was thinking about the things I wanted to talk about. And the reason I started this podcast, specifically rebranded to the Make an Impact podcast, is because I just love how broad it is and how impactful it is. If you sit down and think about it, anybody can do anything to make an impact. You can walk out of here today and make an impact by holding the door for somebody, right? And smiling at them and saying, have a nice day. And I'm going to share a story because Nick and I met at Business Networking International probably 6-7 years ago, maybe, if not more. It was the early days when we were still with,
I think it was right.
Marie Mobska brought you.
Yeah.
And that's where we first met, established a relationship. And I very much appreciate your friendship and relationship. But I think about all the time, and I was thinking of the new show and, you know, the conversation, and you've made such an impact in my life. And I don't think you realize it from this small story, right? So I started T5 Insurance. I started like that. I didn't know that I needed an office space. I find an office space. Our friends, Don Manfredo and John Bartholomew, I joked that they put me in a janitor's closet. And so I got the office space and I was like, oh shit, I need furniture. So what did I do? Called them Nick. Hey, I just started this agency. I just need a desk, yada, yada. And what did you do? You gave me a desk. And I will never forget that. Early in my business career, I had no money. I just left my job that I was getting paid for. I didn't pay myself for 1.5 years in the agency. I was starting this with very little money. I was going to figure out a way to pay for the desk. I remember insisting to, but of course, the man that you are, you gave that to me as a gift for the new business. And I'll just never forget that. I think about that all the time. I just wanted to share that with you and on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do. And, you know, I appreciate how you take that leap to do it, right? Because I wasn't in that position. I didn't have to take as much of a leap. It was, it's an established business that I kind of came into.
Sure.
But I also appreciate how you do business, right? Because before I had Turnbull or T5, Mr. Stephen Turnbull as my insurance, I kept going to him and saying like, hey, I call you with all my insurance questions. I need you to be my agent. And he would be like, oh, your rate's good right now. Your rate's good. I'm like, man, just take my business, but until it made sense, you did the same thing. So yeah, I appreciate that. And it speaks volumes, especially in that industry.
Yeah.
So be able to trust you. Like,
I'm going to put you on the hot seat with that, because that's what we're going to do here at the Make an Impact podcast. When you think of make an impact, what does that mean to you? Just your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, my first thoughts are always,
scary.
My business.
Get them out.
Yeah.
Go back to those college stories.
Yeah. Always my business. But I think now what's happened is I've kind of developed a pride in the area, right? That I could, have or not have as I was growing up. It's like, I like Rome, I like Utica, but like I could go somewhere else. The longer I'm here now and the more I see what we have going on here, I think it's like super exciting. Just every day, it's something. It's like some major announcement every day. And I think finding a way to have an impact in that, whether it's big or small or what it is, I think that's super exciting.
And talk about, I'm going to tee you up here, talk about how you do that. I mean, you're very involved in the community. Your chair's still of the Rome Chamber?
Not anymore. Just ended.
Look at that smile.
Couple days.
Look at that smile. Just ended.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I have this free time now.
But let's dive into that, because I want to, went away for school, knew you were coming back, worked into the business, grew your way up to the business, now taking over the business. Why is that so important for you? I'm on the board of the Utica Chamber, as you know. I'm on other boards. It's a lot of work. I think some people that maybe don't do the board game, whatever you want to call it, volunteer your time back, think, you just sit there and say, all in favor? No, and especially chair of an organization like that. Why is that important for you, especially with your ties, for your business, but personally into the community?
Yeah, I mean, and I will say, we operate, like I said, out of Albany, Ithaca, Syracuse. I lived in Albany for a year, and then I lived in Ithaca for 3-4 years, right? And
while you're working for the company.
Yeah,
right?
I was working out of those offices. And I met my wife, who is a Utican. Well, we let that slide because I'm a Roman.
Oh, boy.
But I came back here and I saw it from a kind of a different perspective. And, the Rome Chamber, they were one of the first people that were they took a chance because I was young. They were like, this kid's probably not old enough to be on a board, but let's give him a shot.
Yeah.
So I especially felt dedicated to that organization. So, we had at the chamber Bill Guglielmo, who had been there for 50 years, and as I was second vice chair, he had retired and then passed away, and it was a big transition when you have someone that steers an organization for that long. So that was especially kind of a lot of involvement, but the chamber's a funny thing, because if you're not involved in it, you're okay, the chamber just sends out these newsletters and they have these business after hours. But a chamber, Rome, Utica, all of these chambers, they do so many other things, right? I know the Rome chamber, we had that, during COVID, we started a business assistance fund. And then after this tornado, we were able to partner with the county and the city to distribute a lot of money to impacted businesses. So there's a ton of things they do like that. RIDC in Rome, that board, another one that's just not a ton of people know about, but they help small businesses get loans for industrial equipment and things like that. So, I think at the end of the day, it goes back to that impact thing. It's we're here, we want to be here. Let's make our community the best we can. And especially I was joking around about my wife being from Utica, but,
were you joking? Were you joking?
We're one big community.
Yeah.
Right. And, especially, I really only care about Proctor versus RFA, because there's a lot in high school playing each other so much, but the cities, they're all right.
It's like Clinton and New Hartford hockey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we got the same problem. Yeah. Just to wrap up on that too, is I think if I were to turn the question on me about the college to the working world and all of that, I never understood or realized the value of relationships, right? And I think about it with the BNI model. We have this networking group, and we all join, and hopefully, you were a member for a while and you left us. And then, but you all join it hope, okay, maybe Nick will refer me, I can refer Nick. And when I talk to people about it, it's the relationships of hey, I started this business and I need furniture, down the road, right? Or, hey, somebody needs a lawyer or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's the community part that gets me so excited. It amps me up that I can be like, oh, you're starting a business and you need help with somebody who can do social media. Like, I know the person that's going to legitimately help you, not the person that's going to like just try to sell you or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be business, personal life, whatever. Like these connections, like how many people need a pest control guy? I know a really good one that actually answers the phone, you know? And like, so like, but those are things that bring so much value to your life, people's life around you, your family and friends based off of relationships. And like, that's the one thing I want to try to do with this podcast, and just get people in front of more people and share stories and connect. And I just really appreciate, you know, your time today and being here to do that. Wrapping up, where can people find you? Look around for the big, beautiful trucks. But what's the best place to kind of follow around on what you do? If it's a business that needs some refreshed office furniture is watching this, how can they get in touch with you, all that?
Yeah, ROIofficeinteriors.com. That's got all of our info. You find those big, beautiful trucks. Got a nice QR code on the back. You can get a hold of us. But yeah, we're all over. You know, we go all the way up past Albany, and we cover a really wide range of businesses, a wide range of products. So we're happy to, you know, assist anybody, even if it's, you know, just ideas kind of conversation.
I got to throw this last minute question. What's the coolest project you've ever done?
Oh, man. T5 insurance, obviously.
I was hoping he was going to say that. I was hoping he was going to say that. It was a big desk.
Yeah.
It was a big, nice desk.
Up and down too, right?
All right, everybody. Stephen Turnbull with the Make an Impact podcast. That's Nick Angelicola with ROI. Make sure to check him out. Until next time, go out there, lead with purpose, and make an impact in someone's life today, even if that's your own. We'll see you next week. Take care.